Okay, welcome to our podcast. Do you want to let us know what you do?
Yeah, my name is Jennifer Lopez. I am the program manager of Karen's House, which is a domestic violence emergency shelter with family services.
Does your agency serve both men and women?
Yes, so we actually agency-wide and our program as well serve all genders. As far as for Karen's House services, for domestic violence services, shelter services, yeah, we'll serve all genders as long as they're fleeing intimate partner violence.
What services do you guys provide specifically?
So with the domestic violence programs, we offer our emergency shelter for those that are fleeing intimate partner violence. On site, we offer comprehensive case management, child advocacy. We offer counseling services on site. We do legal services here, parenting classes, life skill classes, whatever it is that the client may be, or clients or families may be needing, we'll try and get them connected to whatever they're wanting to do. And that's here. And then we have our legal department, and they're providing assistance obtaining restraining orders, custody orders, stuff like that. Any family law issues. And we have our counseling department as well that's working with adults and children of any sort of victimization, like domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse, those kinds of things.
Is there any specific criteria to receive services, or any criteria that disqualifies you from receiving services, or a person?
No, as long as they're fleeing intimate partner violence and are seen as like an imminent danger, they can receive shelter services. But as far as like other services that we offer off-site, so like our legal department, our counseling services, stuff like that, they don't necessarily have to be fleeing. So they may be just needing legal assistance or counseling services for the domestic violence. Maybe it's been ongoing, or they were victimized years ago and just wanting to take care of it now. There's not necessarily any criteria there, but for shelter we want it to be imminent, so that's pretty, like, it's serious, very serious cases.
All right, so then if someone were fleeing and say they had children, is there any special restrictions for that? Because I know there was a policy where if a male was 13 or something like that, there was a cutoff age. Is that something that
there are some shelters that I have heard that, but for our program, no. If a person is fleeing intimate partner violence and they have children, we will bring in, and it's highly advised that they bring in all children to come in together. We've even housed adult children, maybe because they rely on that parent, so like going to school and stuff like that. So there's not necessarily a cutoff age for that either. We want to make sure that the family is safe from the person that's causing harm in that home.
So can you describe like what a day in the life of someone who's living in a shelter would be like?
I wish I could. To be honest, every day is very different. Okay. So it can vary. There are some days where it's very quiet. And there are some days where it's very hectic. So it really depends on the individual and where they're at. Maybe a lot of times during the week, they're working on their own cases. So maybe meeting with the counselor, meeting with their case manager, trying to obtain a job or whatever it is. If they're already working, going to work, we want them to continue to live their life that they want to, and as safely as possible. On any downtime, we give them the freedom to kind of do as they please. There's TV, games, reading. Our clients right now are really into like the 5D diamond puzzles. I don't know if you guys have heard those. Like, it's like a coloring thing, but it's like, I don't know. They're like, it's like all the rage here. They love that. But yeah, it just varies. Depends on where they're at for the day.
Since the COVID-19 pandemic, has there been a really big impact on the shelters or on clients, or how have you guys adjusted?
Oh man, it's definitely changed the way that we've provided services. We noticed once the pandemic hit, their call volume actually dropped, and we equate that to people being in quarantine with the perpetrator, so not being able to make those phone calls. So what we did is we had to accommodate that, and we actually created a chat line on our family services website that people can reach out and get assistance using a web-based phone or a computer, tablet, something like that. So they can speak to an advocate that way. Our call volume now, as things are starting to open up, has been increasing. People looking for shelter. However, we are still practicing physical distancing on our end. So our bed count normally is 33. We can house up to 33 people at a time, but because of physical distancing, we're limiting that. We are doing about half capacity. So right now, I would say we are comfortable sitting at like maybe 12 or 15 people total in the house. So with that, we're doing a lot of referring out to other domestic violence programs to see if they might have space if we're at capacity, or even housing clients in hotels temporarily until space might open up on our end here.
So what agencies do you guys partner with, maybe to fill those gaps or to do any other services that you guys can do?
We partner with a lot of like family-based agencies. So we'll work with CWS quite a bit, Child Welfare Services, Parenting Network, even other departments in family services. So other programs. We definitely work with like law enforcement agencies, including like the DA's office, probation, to ensure like safety.
So if somebody was seeking services, or someone that's seeking services, or like maybe a family member, or like your neighbor, you hear that something is going on, how can we get them to get services?
It's really going to be up to that person to reach out. So you can definitely provide them our phone number. Our hotline is a 24-hour hotline. You can reach a certified domestic violence counselor 24 hours a day, every day. So they can, and it's completely anonymous. We don't report to anyone. So they can call, not release any information, maybe just need to talk to someone, need some referrals, want to know what their options are, maybe seeking shelter, all of those things. So they can give us a call. That's pretty much it. So they can call us and see what it is that they're wanting to do. The hardest part, I think, is making that phone call.
Yeah, that first step.
Yeah.
So for someone maybe that is in that sort of situation, but they won't leave their partner, is there services that's offered for someone who might be a perpetrator, who seeking service and seeking help?
Yes, yeah. So actually with family services as well, with the same agency, we offer our batters intervention program. So it's a 52-week program. It's like it's a group format. It can be court ordered, so maybe requested by a judge, or self-referral. So maybe those that are perpetrating or seeing themselves perpetrating, they can actually say, I want assist, I want some help, and go to those courses. And so that's also available.
Is there any advice that you would want to leave anybody who hears this podcast or gets to see it? Anything you want to leave with?
I would say anyone that may find themselves in a domestic violence relationship, just know that none of this is your fault. If you feel isolated, alone, or stuck, you're not. We want to help you. We believe you. We want you to trust us. Like I said, making that phone call is the hardest part. But just know to reach out. A sympathetic ear is going to be nice to hear. And then for anyone that may know someone that's in a domestic violence relationship, just remember that it's a lot harder to leave those relationships than it seems. There's a lot of planning that goes into it. There's a lot of fear. And it's really important to know that leaving and planning to leave those relationships is actually the most dangerous time for that person wanting to leave. So there is a lot of stuff that goes into it, a lot of careful planning that goes into it, because it is very, very dangerous. So I know there's a lot of people just saying, well, why doesn't she just leave? Or, it's a lot more difficult than just leaving. There's a lot of other stuff that goes into it. So
I've definitely heard people say that, that person is stupid or
right.
Those kinds of things. And
it's definitely not the case. Yeah. And that's actually what we call victim blaming. So instead of, putting blame on the person that's actually hurting the other person, we're blaming the victim by saying comments like that. So we really want to change that dynamic and put not necessarily blame on the person that's causing harm, but it's like it's obviously not the victim's fault. They've been put in a situation where all power and control has been taken away from them. So and a lot of times these situations, as we know, is very, very dangerous. So a lot of times they're getting threats of, if you leave, I will kill you. And they believe that to be true. And we know that it can be true. So it's very difficult and it's very dangerous to leave those relationships. So
Thank you so much for your time. I think we got all the questions answered.
yeah, that's it. It's so easy.
It was quick.
Yeah, not too bad. Okay.